Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. A lack of access to timely care during the COVID-19 pandemic among factors to be blamed for maternal mortality in the Americas. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 8th March 2022. Details when we return.
Hubbard's Motor Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. Disruption to prenatal services and a lack of access to timely care during the COVID-19 pandemic are to blame for the increase in maternal mortality in the Americas, according to the director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Clarissa Etienne, who said further that data from across the region has made it very clear that COVID-19 had a staggering impact on maternal mortality.
Disruptions to prenatal services and lack of access to timely care led to more expectant women dying across our region. There was a large increase in mortality among pregnant women in the United States beginning in August of 2021 after the Delta variant had become predominant. The highest number of cases were among Hispanic and white non-Hispanic women. Pregnant women are also among those most vulnerable to COVID-19 due to changes in their immune system, which can put them at risk for severe disease. Over the past 2 years, more than 365,000 cases of COVID-19 have been reported in pregnant women in the Americas, and sadly, over 3,000 of them died.
Dr. Etienne said PAO had just completed a study tracking COVID deaths among pregnant women across 8 countries in the Americas.
That 1 in 3 women who required critical care did not access it in time, and over 90% of 447 pregnant women in the study were already experiencing life-threatening symptoms when admitted to the hospital. Nearly 77% delivered their babies prematurely, and nearly 60% of these children were born with low birth weight. And this can lead an influence such as lifelong health. This is a tragedy, especially now that we have safe and effective vaccines. Even though most countries in the region recommend the vaccination of pregnant women, their uptake of COVID-19 vaccines is still very low. Furthermore, while in some places young women remain unvaccinated, in Latin America and the Caribbean, unmet family planning needs among adolescents is about 25%. This underscores the need for the health empowerment of women and girls.
In the meanwhile, World Health Organization's chief says it is still too early to declare victory over COVID-19 pandemic in spite of the decline in deaths.
There are still many countries with high rates of hospitalization and death and low rates of vaccine coverage. And with high transmission, the threat of a new and more dangerous variant remains very real. We continue to urge all people in all countries to exercise caution, and we urge all governments to support their people to protect themselves and others. We must also remember that the effects of the pandemic go far beyond the death and disease caused by the virus itself. In particular, COVID-19 has taken a heavy toll on mental health. A new WHO report estimates that in the first year of the pandemic, the global prevalence of anxiety and depression increased by more than 25%.
That's news. But for the very latest,
despite instructions from the Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, public servants in the judiciary will not be out to work this week. This is causing a rift between the Chief Justice and at least two of his judges. TV6's Urvashi Tiwari Rupnarayan reports.
The Prime Minister's call in the lower house on Friday for return to work by all public servants has led to a division in the judiciary. The Chief Justice has indicated there will be no change to the current operating procedure, while at least two judges are questioning his ruling.
As of Monday, 7th March 2022, the public service will return to full service, and all public servants will be expected to return to work as normal.
That was the Prime Minister after 2 p.m. on Friday, but by 5:33 p.m., according to an email thread acquired by TV6, Court Protocol and Information Manager Carl Francis writes to all judges, saying the court executive administrator advises, quote, whether you work remotely from home or in office or a mix of the two, please be advised that on Monday, 7th March 2022, your current work arrangements continue until you hear from your supervisors who will advise you of changes to your work arrangements, end quote. Madam Justice Carol Gobin, who has had her share of run-ins with the Chief Justice Ivor Archie, queries the notice referencing Dr. Rowley's directive. She asks, quote, is there a legal basis for overriding his directive? I ask in the interest of protecting my team members who are public service employees against any exposure to disciplinary action, end quote. The High Court judge did not leave it there, asking for a reason, as she says, quote, and further, may we as judicial officers have the courtesy of an explanation or reason for the delay when compliance will only allow the resumption and improvement of court services to members of the public, breathe life back into our empty court buildings, and allow more ready access to justice. Please, end quote. A response from the email address iarchie@ttlawcourts.org responds asking, quote, who is going to take disciplinary action? This is the judiciary. Thanks for the advice, end quote. The High Court judge, Carol Gobin, then requested a meeting of judges, as she says the last occurred in May 2022. She says access to chambers and courtrooms for civil trials are negatively impacting her docket. In defending the position, the Chief Justice says the option of in-person hearings will be made as soon as possible, and he points out over the past 6 months, 1,148 staffers were on quarantine, with 54 still on quarantine, 26 positive cases identified, and 6 deaths. High Court Judge Frank Sipasa joined the thread, saying he has conducted over 145 virtual trials and continues to have significant reservations about the integrity of the trial process. He says given the criminal justice system has come to a halt due to the inability to conduct jury trials, there is the need, he says, for the court to revisit its position. Urvashi Tiwari Rupnarayan, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
The Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard has launched a probe into allegations of brutality by Grenadian seamen at the hands of the Coast Guard. According to this arm of the country's national security, the claims are being taken seriously, and the investigation would include all parties involved. Although he's expressing concern, Minister Fitzgerald Hines says it is important to await the findings. TV6's Alicia Boucher has that story.
The MV Rainier J left Grenville, Grenada on March 1st around 4 a.m. bound for TNT, a trip the vessel conducts on a weekly basis for the purpose of trading. GBN reported that what is normally a routine check by the TNT Coast Guard turned out to be a hostile confrontation, where officers allegedly hurled obscene language at the crew, and one even pointed his gun at them. Rainier J's operator Keith Joseph said a member of his crew alerted the Coast Guard officer to the incident involving a Venezuelan migrant baby who was shot and killed, telling him to be careful. He claimed the Coast Guard boarded their vessel and subsequently ordered them to dock at Stobles Bay.
The same guy pointed to my crew member who mentioned to him about the shooting incident with the Coast Guard, and he said, I want you to come down. So he proceeded, and as he landed there, two of them jumped on him. Slaps, kick, punch. He fell to the ground. They continued kicking him.
According to GBN, an officer in plainclothes came and spoke to the Coast Guard officers, who then allowed the crew to leave. But the man who was allegedly beaten had to seek medical attention from the Port of Spain General Hospital. He is said to have suffered several injuries, one of which requires surgery.
I saw the speed blood, on my face. I got a broken bone, 4 places on my face. Painful, I getting pain in the left side of my head. Real pain, I can't really watch in the sunlight.
They told GBN that they would be pursuing legal action against the TNT Coast Guard and or any other parties implicated in the incident. In a release today, the Coast Guard stated that the alleged conduct of the officers is not in keeping with the ethos that the organization expects from its members. Furthermore, the Coast Guard says the allegations are serious and an immediate investigation was launched on the morning of the incident. According to the TTCG, it is hoping to resolve the issue in the shortest possible time. National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines says he was informed about the incident from the Chief of Defense Staff, and he also saw videos which went viral on social media.
That investigation will involve all the parties engaged in this matter on both vessels, and the results will be made known, and whatever is to flow therefrom will flow.
Minister Hines says the reputations of the arms of national security are important.
Naturally, I am concerned about those kinds of allegations, but like you, I am unable to come to any conclusions now. I too must await the outcome of an investigation, but to be concerned, obviously I am.
TV6 News also asked the minister for an update on the status of the investigation surrounding the death of the Venezuelan migrant baby, which occurred almost a month ago. He says it's ongoing and he suspects that by now the Coast Guard would have participated in the probe by police. According to the minister, to his knowledge, the baby's mother is also still in Trinidad. Alicia Boucher, TV6 News.
Barbados' Minister of Health and Wellness, Ian Gooding Edgehill, has outlined plans for a shake-up of the healthcare system in Barbados to address the urgent need to improve efficiency and reduce a backlog of people awaiting various operations.
The minister told lawmakers on Wednesday that the cash-strapped Queen Elizabeth Hospital will be a significant priority for his ministry in the coming years as part of a 5-year capital expenditure program to modernize and improve healthcare delivery on the island.
We will focus on what is achievable, what can be delivered in this coming financial year, with a clear understanding of what capital requirements are necessary. On assuming office, I instructed the Executive Chairman of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital to prepare a 5-year capital expenditure program for the Ministry's review. The capital expenditure program will involve stakeholder participation to better understand what is needed at the QEH to enhance efficiency and effectiveness. The capital works strategy and plan, along with other critical improvements in hospital quality, human resource planning, improve access to pharmaceuticals, medical technologies, and cardiac care, both pre-hospital and in-hospital care, so as to improve patient care and ensure successful outcomes. Having asked for the information on the most pressing outstanding issues and how they should be prioritized, I have been advised that urgent and immediate action should be given to the correction of a long-standing problem at the hospital, namely the long list of overdue and varied surgical operations that have piled up over the last several years.
Hubbard's Motor Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.